finally finished the chicken coop area, and then we went for a short camping trip up into the mountains, which I will show you on another video. But first I want to show you what the finished area looks like and tell you about some plans I have for the future. So right here where these pallets are, this will eventually be actually a wall. The upper area will have wire to keep varmints from getting up into the chickens area. This right here will actually be our small hay storage area. Until we have larger animals, we really don't go through a lot of hay with the pigs for their bedding in the winter. Our pigs don't particularly like hay to eat, so it is mostly bedding. In fact, we bought 20 bales and we have, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 bales left. So we have half the hay that we purchased in January. Now if we start out with hay in the early winter, then we may very well go through 20 bales. But these hens seem very happy having natural daylight. And then of course the venting really helps keep the barn less smelly and cooler in here as well come afternoon. So my mom helped me do all of this remodeling. My husband was away at work and it was beyond his control to be here, so it took us an entire day just getting this door figured out. When you're retrofitting things, it is definitely not as easy as if you planned it, built it, and then you were done. But you can see that we have a guillotine door that is worked by a string. This is actually some polyester rope, and it works very well, although the whole time we were camping I was afraid that the chickens had knocked the door shut. But that can't be helped. But it lifts very easily. You can see I have two eyes to where I can just pull on it rather than trying to lift it directly. The chickens took to going outside all by themselves while we were gone. And of course, while we were gone, I gave them 2 feeders full and I gave them lots of water. Oh, that's gross. And they seem to be using this little ladder quite well to get out. I wasn't sure if it would work, but Nathan built it for me on the fly and they don't seem to have a problem with it. Now this is just temporary. We will be adding a slide bolt or something of the sort to latch it, probably one up and one down to keep the door from warping. And this should be good to go for the rest of the summer. These pullets should start laying come October. The Dominique's supposed to start laying a little bit later, but the others, the Australorps and, see, the Australorps are the black ones. These are the Buff Orpingtons and these are the Dominique's. The Buff Orpingtons and the Australorps should start laying about the first week of October, maybe the last week of September. And obviously right now I do not have a roost in here for them, and I do not have the nest boxes built. I need to do some thinking on that, where we want stuff to be put permanently. I do need to figure out what I'm going to do to keep the snow out of here. I'm very seriously considering just putting a board clear to the floor. This feed sack situation works great for the time being, but I don't see it as a permanent solution to keeping the wind and the snow out. Especially since we do plan on keeping this as our little hen house indefinitely. So, but the hens seem very happy. I should say the pullets seem very happy, and they like to hide behind that little pallet I gave them for a roost. Dust bath and such behind it. But the next task, besides putting in roosts for them, is to put together the outside chicken yard. And I'm going to show you what I have for that. You can see these girls like to be outside. I'm sure they will all be outside once we get this large yard opened up. Nathan helped me build this right before we left for camping, and it's just 3 hog panels that we then wired that old piece of red tin that was on that part of the barn on top of it. Obviously this is a temporary structure. We hooked it to some T-posts just so that if we got a bad storm or something, the tin wouldn't make the little temporary aviary take flight, in addition to possible predators. So you can see we just took it and bowed it down and wired it to the bottom just so that it would touch the bottom. We didn't have to bend anything. These panels are very versatile for things, but once you put a good bend in them or cut them, obviously you limit their usefulness for other projects. So, but out here you can see this T-post line that I showed you previously. This will have the 2x4 woven wire around it. Obviously I would much prefer having an enclosed aviary, but an enclosed aviary this size would be cost prohibitive at this point. So we're going to do our very best to keep predators out of this open-topped yard. Might need a scarecrow or a imitation owl or something. We don't want anything obviously to frighten the hens, but we sure don't want hawks and things getting in with our chickens. But they really do need to get out here into the yard so that they can eat the grass. We don't have very many chickens, so I don't know how the grass will hold up. 25 hens could very easily eat all of this down, but at the same time, I don't know if they will. It's partial grass, partial weeds. We threw a bunch of the manure that was in the barn. Previously, the previous owners had horses here and they used the barn as a loafing shed. So there's a lot of manure and bedding that we've scattered out here when we cleaned it out for the pigs in January. And then of course the second half of the barn still has all of that bedding and everything that needs to be cleaned out. But this will be getting done here in the next couple of days. I will put, I think, a pallet or something out here so that they have shade and predator protection out in the yard. You know, when you have an aerial attack, you may not have your 25 hens that can make a mad dash for that little 10 by 12 door. So I guess it's about 10 by 10-ish. But they don't seem to be bothered by the small hole. The small hole is actually a good idea. If you had a large gaping hole, you would have a tendency of predators actually trying to get in there. When I was a kid, my family had racing homing pigeons, and we actually had hawks try to go in through the traps, which is simply like a small opening where the pigeons drop into on race day, and you take their bands off and such. But that's just another story for another day. But these hens, these pullets look like they are in seventh heaven, eating all this natural grass and screens, and it will just make them a lot more healthy, and which is of course what we're going for. Healthy hens lay healthy eggs, and that's the reason that we have them for our family. Well, thank you for visiting us here on the homestead. Please come back and visit us. If you've not subscribed to our videos, please go ahead and do so right now. Share our videos with anybody that you think would enjoy them, and you have a wonderful day.